are live. Another Square and Compass Promotions live stream. Let's give it a few minutes. Let's see who's going to join. We are once again going to chat about Freemasonry. Today, more specifically, I'm going to chat about what I have coming up next week or this week, starting on Saturday. The reason being, I'm really excited about a lot of things I have coming, and I want to make sure that I really just want to make sure that I, advertise it, promote as much as I can. I'm especially looking forward to our 24-hour live stream we have coming up, which is going to be an absolute blast. It should be a lot of fun. So let's give it a few minutes, see who joins. We had a great stream yesterday. Just trying to do my poll question. So let's now just give it a chance. And like I said, I loved the live stream yesterday, or I guess this morning, 1 a.m. It was great seeing so many people show up. So. Oh, my cat's claw got stuck. There you go. All right, so let's give it some time. Let's give it a few minutes. Let's see who joins. And please, as I was saying, take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let me know how you are doing. And anything about Freemasonry. Once we get some people joining, as I was saying, I will be talking about what I have coming up this week, or I guess next week, technically. And what I'm most looking forward to. But first, we just got to wait to see who joins us, see who finds us. There's been some great news here in Windsor that I'm super excited about. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's give it some time. Let's see who joins. We're just going to be, like I said, today, amongst other things, the focus is going to be on what I have coming up, what I'm most excited for in Square and Compass Promotions. And I'll probably be doing another one of these streams closer to September, where I talk about what I'm most excited for when it comes to Freemasonry in Essex and some of the most exciting things we have coming up therein as well. So It's going to be awesome. But for now, I'm just going to wait to see who joins. Please jump in the chat, say hello, and let me know anything you guys want to talk about. As always, the first hour of chat is just hanging out. Welcome, Dad. How's it going? I hope that you are doing well. How is your day treating you so far? And how is still a lot of smoke in Winnipeg? And we got one vote so far. Will you be joining us? One says yes, so that's going to be fun. Like I said, just waiting to see who's going to jump in the chat and say hello. Will you join us for the August 21st to August 22nd 24-hour live stream? Let me know. And let me know if there's anything in the meantime that you guys want to talk about. Once we get about an hour in, I'm going to be sticking to the main topic, which is what we have coming up. Good. I'm glad the smoke is gone. Welcome. If you're just joining us, jump in the chat, say hello. As always, we are here to talk about Freemasonry. However, more specifically, we are here to talk about what we have in Square Encompass Promotions coming up, but that is down the line a little bit. For the first little bit, we're just going to hang out, chat, and see what people want to talk about. Chris Castro, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. Let me know how the day is treating you and if you have anything going on and any questions, thoughts, comments on Freemasonry or anything else you want to talk about. As always, this first hour or so is just hanging out. Just waiting to see who else jumps in the chat. Like I said, the first hour is just really a waiting game to see who joins. The second hour, we start talking about specific topics. Today's specific topic will be what we have coming up with Square and Cups Promotions, what I'm most excited for, excited about. And yeah, it's going to be fun. Maybe even half an hour. It depends. If we don't get a lot of people joining us this stream, then no worries. I will, like I said, I'll start the main topic a little bit sooner. It was really awesome, I guess, this morning's stream, technically, or yesterday's stream. I always get these times mixed up. We had a ton of people showing. It was absolutely awesome. We had a lot of great conversations. And the stream before that, talking about whether or not we as Freemasons can do big things. That was really, really cool as well. All is well, raised eyebrow. How are you doing? I hope that you are doing well also. I hope that you're having a great day. Buddy Cole. Hey, welcome, buddy. How's it going? I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining. As always, hit that like button and let me know what's going on. We are going to be talking about all the things we have coming up shortly in Scoring Cups Promotions, and that includes the 24-hour live stream, which we have scheduled for August 21st to August 22nd, 2 p.m. to 2 p.m. So it's going to be a blast. I'm going to be showing off all of my different Masonic items, coins, pins, all that cool jazz I've got. So I hope you will join me, not for all, but at least for some of the 24-hour live stream. When is the next degree ceremony you have coming up, Buddy Cole? When do you have the next one coming up? And that's awesome, though. Good for you for practicing. A lot of Masons, especially Masons who are a little bit older, or not older is the word, more experienced, they tend to forget that they still need to practice. Just because you've learned your ritual once doesn't mean that you get to stop practicing or stop caring. So, you know, I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind. So make sure that you follow Buddy Cole's lead and take your, practice your ritual regularly. It's a bit like going to the gym. Just because you get yourself in shape, it doesn't mean, therefore, you never need to go to the gym again. You still have a responsibility to keep yourself in shape. And, with ritual, just because you know it once, just because you maybe even have a great ritual one day, that doesn't mean that you get to stop practicing or expect it to always be there. You need to keep regular practice. I'm doing well, though, Buddy Cole. I'm hanging out. We're finally getting a little bit over the heat wave. Things are going great here in Windsor. So, no, I'm doing very, very, very well. When is your next degree, though, that you have coming up, or your next ceremony? So you got one tournament this Saturday, then October 4th, then October 11th, then October 21st. Holy cow. So basically, you've got a very busy few months. What is your favorite degree, would you say, of all of them? Because those also, a lot of those I don't, because I'm not York side of things, right? So, do you have a particular, or do you have a favorite in Blue Lodge, or a favorite particular degree? And by the way, for my poll question, when I ask, will you join us for the August 21st live stream, 24 live stream? Obviously, what I'd love it, I don't expect people to join me for the whole 24 hours. That would be a bit much. But nonetheless, for part of it. Be at Blue Lodge EA. Okay, I find most people say Master Mason at the first, followed by, they'll usually say, Master Mason first, and then EA is the second most popular. I'm the exception. For me, it's Fellowcraft. I really like the Fellowcraft degree. So I guess I am the exception to that particular rule. Said we're just giving it a bit more time. We're going to wait to see who joins. Usually the first hour, I just wait and answer questions from the chat and hang out. And the second hour, I have a specific topic. In this case, what we in Scoring Comes Motions have coming up, what we are excited for, what we think is going to be coming up that's going to be really, really cool. There's also some really just good news in Windsor in general, which I want to promote, because one thing that we need to remember, and I've talked about this a million times, what was I saying? Because we as Freemasons should care about our communities, we should care about what's happening in communities, and when there's good news, we should promote it, because as a community is more successful, so will we be more successful. And so we should promote. Well, you're not alone. You're not the exception, right? Most people, I find, they don't struggle with the Fellowcraft degree per se, but they don't enjoy it that much. I'm just sending a quick message to somebody. Oh, when do you have a Fellowcraft degree coming up, Dad? That's good. Because I know your normal lecture is the Northeast lecture in the EA. What do you do in the Fellowcraft? Small break is good. So you're just kind of rushing your way to get to October. So I know that feeling of just working really hard, just, you see that break coming up and you're super excited for it. Believe me, I know exactly what that feeling is. Um, Sometime in September. What are you doing for the FC degree, though? What is the, obviously, you can't give the specific words, but what is the lecture you have coming up? Well, I guess you have the InterGuard part. So in fairness, you probably just have to study for that as well, because there's a part there. Or I guess no, you're Tyler, so you don't have that. I got it mixed up. Whatever part you got, I'm no doubt you will absolutely crush it. Let's just give it a bit more time. Let's see who joins. I'm going to share this on my Twitter account. Like I said, we are going to be talking today about what I have planned for the next week, what I am most excited for. Let me see if I can just get this. Your memory will hold up fine. I've seen you do the other lectures, so your memory will hold up fine. And good for you for taking that part on, because that's a big lecture, The Secrets. That's one of the bigger ones in the second degree, so that is awesome. You are going to crush it, I have no doubt. When in October? Because maybe I could come back down for that. I mean, you said late October. I know you've got your birthday late October, so maybe I could come down for your birthday and then check out the degree while I'm there. So as I was saying, we are just giving it a bit of time. We're just going to see who joins and who wants to chat about Freemasonry. Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral? I would love to hear them. If you don't like Freemasonry, you know what, that's okay too. I'd still love to know why it is that you're not a fan of Freemasonry. And if you do like Freemasonry, all the better. Tell me what it is you love about it. Tell me what it is you like about Square and Compass promotions. And if you're going to be joining us for some of the events that we have coming up. As I was saying, for now, we are just going to hang out. We're going to wait. We're going to see who joins. And if you want to chat about Freemasonry, any thoughts on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral, please let me know. I will do my best to answer any questions or any thoughts anybody may have. Give my own views. I've been a Freemason since 2007. So almost 20 years, which is crazy to think. So I'm a member of, well, 5 lodges, but 3 that I visit regularly because they're within my jurisdiction. Um, to my knowledge, no. We do have an official visit coming up for the lodge of which I'm worshipful master in October, very early October, October 1st, and I'm planning a few different things for that, which should be a blast. I'm very much looking forward to. Well, don't, if the choice is between getting on my chat shows or memorizing a ritual, then memorize your ritual. There'll always be another chat show, but you want to make sure your ritual is good. So nobody use scoring covers promotions as a reason to not be you know, studying your ritual. Oh, I've served in the East many, many times. I guess not many. So I was a worshipful master for the first time in 2015, and then again in 2016. I did a double, year as a worship master of my mother lodge, Windsor Lodge number 403 in Windsor, Canada. Then in 2018, I was the worshipful master of Harmony Lodge number 579. And then in 2024, I became the worshipful master of Border Cities Lodge. And I'm currently doing a double shot there. So this would be my 5th term as a worshipful master in lodge as of right now. So, enjoying living the dream over here. I wish I could say I was. I mean, I guess pros never feel like they're pros, but that goes even to what I was saying before, right? Like, um, you never want to get to the point where you feel like being a worshipful master or, doing ritual work or whatever it is just old hat and you don't need to care about it anymore, right? That's one of the biggest challenges and the biggest mistakes you can make. And I've seen that happen to a lot of Masons, even a lot of decent, good Masons, right? They end up feeling like, um, oh, I've done it so many times. I don't need to practice. I don't need to study. I don't need to put my reps in. And then they end up not doing a good job. That happens, unfortunately, way more often than I'd like to, I think we've all seen that. And sometimes it's an age thing. They just get older to a point where their mind cannot do the things they used to do, which is really unfortunate when that happens. But sometimes, in fact, often, it is the case that their mind is fine. They just simply are not putting in the effort and the practice to do a good job. So. Welcome if you are just joining us. By the way, we got 3 votes. You will be joining for the August 21st to 22nd 24-hour live stream, and 1 no. So the 3 people who said yes, thank you. The 1 person who said no, that's okay too. I still appreciate you being here to vote on this one. All right, so sometimes when it comes to not practicing, the issue is the newer guys not practicing because they're busy. Sometimes it's the older people getting complacent. And one of the biggest challenges for any group will be complacency. I would say in some ways complacency has been the biggest challenge for Freemasons as a general rule, whether it be complacency about the number of people that, our numbers were so high, there would always be high. We don't need to keep working on recruiting new members or getting new members is a better term. To our budgets are good, so we don't need to raise dues. To whatever it is, right? I think that's our biggest challenge is we got very complacent with a lot of different things. I've done it myself personally, right? There's this fly in my apartment. I can't get rid of it. It's driving me crazy. I've been in the exact same boat where I've done a really great ritual work and then thought, well, I need to practice that. I've got it down pat. And then the next time you kind of poop the bed, which unfortunately I've pooped the bed many times. But that's okay, right? This isn't meant to be like a wagging the finger thing. We all do well sometimes. We all do not so well sometimes. The question is, when we do well, do we, keep going? And when we mess up, do we pick ourselves up off the mat and keep trying once again? And I would say the Masonic thing to do is pick yourself up off the mat and try once again. Well, I mean, I've often thought, Dad, that's a really good point. I've often thought that it'd be really great at like an official visit, or it doesn't have to be an official visit, at almost any special event or special occasion. It would be really, really great to um, bring in like an acting coach or a drama teacher or whatever it is, something that we can, some type of drama coach, actor, acting student, even to talk about like ways to deliver monologues that we could then use to deliver ritual, breathing exercises to help you if you have to deliver a really long piece of work, ways to memorize lines and memorize whatever it is, stagecraft, whatever it is you need to memorize, ways to put on a production. All of that stuff would really come in handy for Scottish Rite, but also just for any type of ritual in general. Actually, we have a ton of actors. You'd think I would do that in our Masonic. I would take advantage of that. I probably should at some point. I'm looking for different things I can do to be part of our ritual, to be part of our official visits. So that might work really, really well. Good idea, Dad. I've even thought it'd be a good idea to bring in military people to demonstrate the proper way to march in unison. One of the biggest kind of things I've seen that just does not look good is when you have people need to preambulate around a lodge, let's say for a degree, and they're all out of step, out of sync. They don't know how to cut corners properly. It just looks ugly. Bringing in somebody from the military to actually like go over all of that stuff and how to march properly is actually a really, really good thing. The audience does get a free show, which is one of the best parts. If you're lucky enough to be in the audience for one of those, that's another thing. If you're a Mason and you're not coming out to lodge much and you're not enjoying lodge, it's like, think about it the way my dad said. He's absolutely right. You get a free show. Like, what more could you possibly want? other than, you know, a free show. It's pretty great. We're just getting to see who else jumps in the chat before, again, I use this time to talk about what I have coming up, what I'm most excited for. It's interesting. Clearly, the 1 a.m. shows are more popular than the 1 p.m. shows. Clearly, my audience are a bunch of night owls like me. Please take a moment, hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know how you're doing, if there's anything else that you want to chat about. Interesting, I just saw a quote. Founders don't burn out from too much work, they burn out from unclear work. I think you could actually apply that as a quote to Freemasonry. Freemasons don't burn out from too much Masonic work. They burn out if they don't understand why the work is important or the work is unclear. Yeah, a lot of districts used to have that. It's unfortunate that they've kind of gone away. I wish that they were still floating around because they do provide some really great opportunities for, again, a free show, district cohesion, all of that kind of stuff that really does create a better district as well as creates a better Masonic experience altogether. And I think we as Freemasons need to be, you know, spending more time thinking about those things, thinking about how we can have stronger districts, how we can have stronger individual lodges, etc., etc., etc. No, you're not late at all, Courtney. You can come and go as you please. This is not like lodge where it starts at a set time. You have to run errands for your wife. So, you know, you do those. But things are going well with me. How are things going with you? I'm just, like I said, this stream just hanging out. I will be back on at 1 a.m. because for some reason, I don't understand why, my 1 a.m. streams are really popular. More so than these, though I do enjoy these as well. So clearly there's like a bunch of night owls. Do they ever travel, buddy, for lodges, or is it, you know, exclusively quarterly meetings? Good for you with the proficiency work, EA Freemason, Courtney. I was on time. I started at 5 after 1. Sometimes YouTube is slow with the notifications, unfortunately. That is a risk I'm taking, Mr. Keeps on Ticking. Well, I still appreciate the fact that you connected, but that's okay. Hey, the fact that you were connected means it was showing up as like somebody watching, so there is that. That's good. So I'm glad they still travel. You know, for me, you know, one of the cooler traveling lodges is that I really like is the Oklahoma Indian Degree Team, which travels not just nationally, not just in Oklahoma, but around the world, and puts on Master Mason degrees. They've even traveled as far as England from Oklahoma. They've been to Alaska. I would really hope and plan to, bring them up to Canada one day. I would love to. I got close once, but didn't quite get them in. I would have loved to have, though. Nice. Did you get to see them? I have a podcast interview with them. So if you had the chance to watch it, it's one of my more liked one, more watched one podcast episodes. They're really cool dudes. So, that happens, right? That's going to happen. Hopefully you get another chance. Hopefully they will come back and see you. I'm sure it was. Those guys do absolutely bang up champion jobs. And to see, again, Freemasonry, that would be a really fun podcast to do. Freemasonry and the First Nations have a really incredible relationship with each other. Like, in many parts of the world, including in Canada, Freemasonry is one of the few places in which First Nations people, Indigenous people, could actually kind of get a leg up somewhat and join a fraternal organization, get social supports that they would not get otherwise. So yeah, it was one of those things where First Nations and Freemasonry has a really cool history. Here in Windsor, Chief Tecumseh is, known to be a Mason, or at least well believed to be a Freemason, because there's a record of him visiting a lodge and signing in as a Freemason. Do you watch the content of I've seen in passing some clips. Like, I think Old Fashioned had one on there talking about like why I left. What I find, Rondo, and my concern, I think we got Smokey the Clown in with the hearts. Everybody follow Smokey's lead, if it's not Smokey, whoever it is, and leave the hearts. One of my concerns with disgruntled members, or kind of the discussions around them, is my concern isn't so much with people who become Freemasons and then leave, as in, they demit. Because Freemasonry is not for everyone, and that's okay. I think maybe we can solve some of that problem by personality testing at the initiation stage to find people who are more, what's the word I'm looking for? Who are more maybe personality prone to want to be Freemasons and to be active and to stick around. My bigger concern isn't so much people who leave Freemasonry, it's the people who remain Freemasons, they maintain their membership, but they don't show up to lodge. I once read a study, it was, if I recall correctly, out of Massachusetts, and they said they found that, I think it was something like the average lodge has a 40% attendance rate, but 70% of members report enjoying going to lodge. So you have 70% of members say they like lodge, but 40% are showing up regularly. For me, my concern is that 30% difference. What are those people who like being Freemasons, enjoy it, but are not showing up? They enjoy Freemasonry enough to pay for their dues, to pay to be a member, but they never ever bother attending or attend so irregularly it harms the lodge. Why is that the case, and what can we do about it? There's a good idea there, Cole. Actually, I talked about this before in one of my medium stories. What motivates people um, to be active in lodge? Oftentimes, what motivates people to be active in lodge is meaningful work, feeling as though the work has meaning and feeling like they have ownership of the work, right? One of the biggest things I have found that demotivates people or causes people to lose their motivation very quickly is when um, um, you give somebody an office, you give somebody a job, a responsibility, but then you have a whole bunch of past masters second guessing that work all the time, or telling them like, they're doing it wrong, or they need to do it this way, or the famous Masonic, quote, "That's not the way we did it in my day." So yes, part of getting people who are members but are not showing up is to give them active, meaningful work, but also to make sure that when you give them that work, you allow them to do it, allow them, and even that includes allow them to make mistakes. Part of being a Freemason and giving somebody responsibility is you have to accept the fact that they may make mistakes, and that's okay. Actually, that's a good thing. Because sometimes in the process of making a mistake, you actually learn the correct way to do things. You're not wrong about that, Rondo. I mean, you're not wrong about that. If somebody is Googling, Freemasonry, and they come across a disgruntled member, um, talking about his bad lodge experiences, that 100% could turn the potential candidate off of Freemasonry, or, you know, uh, um, make them more apprehensive about joining, or delay their joining, right? How do I say this, right? And the problem is, in some cases, they are correct too. Like, no, I appreciate it, Rondo. Like in some cases, you have just conspiracy theorists or people who just lied about Freemasonry. They joined whatever it is, but they're just full of nonsense. They're on YouTube talking about devil worship or child sacrifice or whatever nonsense they're talking about, which will turn people off. And there's really not a ton that we can do about that as Freemasons, because there people are going to lie, people are going to lie. But then, Rondo, the unfortunate truth of the matter is there are some Masons who joined and genuinely had just bad Masonic experiences, right? They had another brother-in-law they didn't get along with, or they felt disrespected by the lodge somehow, or they got into a fight with another brother. I've had those experiences. I've had my problems in lodges as well. I've loved Freemasonry enough that it's not kept me from going back, but certainly I've had my challenging experiences, right? So the challenge is, how do you deal with situations where it's not somebody who's a conspiracy theorist or who's lying or who's crazy. It's actually somebody who legitimately wanted to enjoy Freemasonry and for whatever reason just did not enjoy it. and is talking about his experiences, which is why one of the things we as Freemasons need to be careful of is trying to find a way to, recognize that if a member has a bad experience, back in the day, he would just be quiet about it because he couldn't do much. Now he's going to go online, he's going to go on YouTube, social media, and rightly or wrongly, that affects the whole of the craft. So the same situations, I guess, raised that could almost make a poor situation or interaction with anything. Sometimes it's just personality clashes. You have two brothers who just don't get along. They have bad personality, not bad personalities per se, but their personalities don't mix. There's discussions around what is meant to be done in those situations. Sometimes you have different or competing ideas about what Freemasonry should be or the approach it should take. Sometimes, we're not meant to discuss politics or religion in lodge, but what has happened, especially with social media, is, John Smith starts posting a bunch of political comments on social media. Another brother who disagrees sees that, and then they start arguing on social media, and then the tensions exacerbate into lodge. And sometimes it's just people are stressed. Like, maybe you're the worshipful master and you're busy trying to organize a degree and people keep calling and canceling. That puts more stress on you. That puts more stress on the brothers who now have to fill in and do the work on behalf of the brothers who aren't showing up. So it's really, really tough, And I personally, I remember, dedicating at some points 40 or 50 hours a week to Freemasonry, being absolutely exhausted. And, one person comes in and complains about whatever it is they complain about. And, I've been known to lose my shit on more than a few occasions if I feel like I'm just exhausted and tired from it. It's human nature, right? It's human nature, raised eyebrow. The hope is we are mature enough and adult enough that after we're done fighting, we can remember that we're brothers and come together and apologize and try to move forward. And there's been times when I've had to apologize to brothers and they've apologized to me. But I think in 2025, we're seeing less and less willingness to apologize and more of a willingness to just keep fights going that don't need to keep going. Well, when I say 50, I include square encompass promotions, which I consider part of my Masonic journey as well, right? You're not wrong, Rondo. There is already a level of... it's happening more and more, at least in Ontario. I was told, I don't know if this is true or not, but I was told that 2024 was a record year in the number of Masonic charges brought by different individuals towards each other, and just general complaints towards each other being brought to Grand Lodge. And that's been true in a lot of jurisdictions. Generally speaking, from what we're seeing, we saw it in Texas, we saw it in Illinois, Michigan. The number of fights amongst and between Masons is growing. Some of those, the number of fights being brought to the Grand Lodge level is growing. But that's not exclusive to Freemasonry. There's a lot of groups are struggling with kind of infighting amongst the groups. We're probably while Freemasonry is following that trend, we're doing the best of all, but we're still following that same trend. So, let me just do something quickly. I still see more. Well, people change, so it's okay if you were part of, Satanists once upon a time. I don't even have any problems with Satanists now. Do what makes you, do what brings you peace. I don't think the Satanist would be a Freemason or would make a good Freemason, but I'm not going to knock anybody for trying to find their way in the world. You're not wrong, Rondo. They are, people are dumb AF. Hopefully are better able to to people are better able to find a way to for their better angels to win out over their dumb AF angels. And Freemasonry helps that take place. But at the end of the day, Freemasonry can only do so much. Right? Freemasonry can only do so much. Humans are still humans, and sometimes, even with me as a Freemason for 20 years, the worst parts of my nature wins out over the better parts. My answer to the 50 hours a week, well, so I'm trying to think of a typical week that I can go through. So well, we should hold people to higher standard, but sometimes a higher standard means apologizing when you mess up, as opposed to not expecting people to not mess up as well. Right? And trying to provide some grace as well, right? We talk in Freemasonry a lot about charity. Charity means not just being charitable in our, like with money and charity in terms of payments. It means charitable with forgiveness, charitable with understanding, charitable with second chances, charitable to those who are holding us to a higher standard, and understanding that they're not holding us to a higher standard because they're trying to be jerks or whatever it is. Charitable because they want the best for us and they want the best for the organization. So let's go through a week that I had during my 50 hours a week situation. Monday morning, wake up, go to the Windsor Masonic Temple Coffee Club. Make sure that we have some artists there displaying their work and that people are enjoying seeing the work being displayed. So that would be, let's say, 8:30. Then after that, at that time, we were engaged in a ton of renovations at the temple, and I was kind of organizing a lot of that work, not alone. So make sure the renovation work is going well. Meet with contractors to see if they need anything. Bring water and stuff for the contractors because it was very hot during that time. Communicate and liaise with our government, with any government representatives we had, because we were getting government grants to, for heritage work and accessibility work, things of that nature. Then meet with or record a podcast episode or do a live stream. At 1 p.m., do the typical live stream. Then work out for a little bit. Then come back to the lodge at 7 o'clock at night for a meeting of the lodge that was taking place. Tuesday, I could usually sleep in, but then same thing. Restoration, renovation work, as well as meeting with government contractors or government agents or emailing them, correspondence, filing reports, and then Scottish Rite at 7 o'clock at night. Then Wednesday, coffee club in the morning. And I'm going to go for one specific thing. So actually Tuesday, Scottish Rite goes till about 9:30 or 10 o'clock. I was at the time what's called the second general, so making sure afterwards, I had to make sure that there was food prepared. Usually that meant during the day getting the food ready and organized and getting my receipts from the food all set up. Then meeting, then food. Then on Tuesday staying late afterwards to have the Masonic Lodge set up the next day, because Wednesday you have your coffee club in the morning, usually with a guest speaker, because then at 11 I had Border Cities Lodge meeting. That went 11 to, let's say, 1. Lunch afterwards, restoration renovation work. Then Wednesday night, I would have mentoring. I'd be at the lodge from 8 to 10 in order to assist, or 7 to 10, to assist new Masons with practicing their ritual work, practicing their mentoring. Then Wednesday night, set up the lodge rooms for Harmony Lodge, which met Thursday. Thursday night, again during the day, doing a lot of Square and Compass stuff, a lot of correspondence, as well as making sure everybody knew the meeting was taking place, making sure the summons was sent out, making sure all the paperwork, because I was secretary, all the paperwork was done as necessary for the lodge. The minutes are printed, the summons are printed, the correspondence is sent out, the bills are organized. Then you have your Harmony Lodge meeting from 7:30 to, let's say, 9:30. Stay late to make sure the lodge is set up for the next night, because the next night we have Windsor Lodge. Well, not for the lodge, for lodges and for Masonic, for Freemasonry. For 99% of this stuff, I wasn't getting paid. The only source of income I had was through Square and Compass promotions. But then back to Coffee Club on Friday morning. The lodge is set up. Now it's the same thing. I'm making sure the artists are there, seeing how Coffee Club is doing. Usually weekends, I would try to meet with the people doing the contract work to make sure they were doing well before they were off for the weekend. Lodge at 7:30. Usually I would fill in a chair at that point. Well, I'm working on it. I had a lot of savings because I'm single and I don't spend money on shoes. So it's growing slowly but surely. But a lot of that early stuff was savings at the time. But it's worth it because I think Freemasonry is important and it needed to be done. Then I remember one particular challenging week. After we had our meeting on Friday, we were organizing a Halloween event at the Windsor Masonic Temple. So after the Masonic event, after the Masonic meeting, which finished at 10 o'clock, I stayed late with two other people till I was at the lodge till 2 in the morning. So that day I was at the lodge from 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. the next day, getting the lodge decorated and getting candy put out and getting all these things set up for the Halloween event. Went home, slept for 5 hours, got back to lodge in the morning, finished decorating. And it wasn't just me doing this, by the way. There's a few people on this schedule with me. Spent the day at the Masonic Lodge from, probably, I think it was like 12 to 5. We had people coming through. We did a big Halloween event. That finished, cleaned up the lodge. Came back on Sunday, restocked the water. That was Sunday was like an hour day to my credit. And then Monday, restart. Coffee club, meeting, correspondence. If you have an official visit, you can expect an extra 4 or 5 hours of work getting the paperwork ready. If you are applying for the Cornerstone designation, you can expect an extra 4 or 5 hours at minimum of work in organizing your pamphlets. I was absolutely beyond, burnt out and tired. To the credit, it wasn't just me doing this. There was a lot of other people. Well, not a lot. There were 3 or 4 other people kind of on the same schedule as me. In some cases, they were on disability, so they weren't able to do any manual labor or set up, but they were helping us out with administrative tasks or what they could do. They had the time. I mean, it was, to its credit, we're getting better in terms of other people have been stepping up. I'm not on the same schedule as I was last year, but there were a couple weeks where it was legitimately 50-hour weeks. I remember 15 days in a row at the Masonic Temple was the max. And by the end of that 15th day, I remember I did not want to hear anybody tell me about how much they loved Freemasonry or cared about it, because I was beyond pooped. And that does create some of those tensions, though, like Rhonda was talking about. I remember, I'm not proud of this per se, but I remember I was at my 15th day in a row, and we had a brother who hadn't been to lodge in ages show up. And he was talking about how much he loved Freemasonry and how, excited he was. and how much he loved the lodge. And I remember I just did not want to hear it because I was so exhausted. And the fact I hadn't seen him in like 2 years, and he's telling me how much he loves Freemasonry, it's like, um, I was just very tired at that point and did not want to hear it. It's kind of like the closest I can think of is I'm trying to think of the best example I can give. Um, this might sound a little bit arrogant if it does, because it's not like 15 days in a row at the Masonic Temple is not the same thing as going through like, military boot camp. I don't want to pretend like it is. I am not near tough enough to survive, army boot camp. Even if I had legs, I would not be near tough enough. I'm a wuss. But it would kind of be like going through army boot camp, and at the end of it, some guy shows up who hasn't gone through anything you've gone through and talks about how much he loves the army. It's like it's easy to love it when you've not. Yeah, it's always easy to talk about how much you love something when you've not put in the work to make it a success. Um, you're not wrong though, EA Freemason. It is always good to see a brother come back. Um, and we as Freemasons should always welcome them back. And I am not always perhaps as welcoming as I should be of brothers who have missed a lot. What I would say though is the key. Well, they're not stolen valor because they're not pretending like. Well, I guess in the army example, it might be. It's more like, maybe people like they're not pretending that they're in the army. They're just saying like, here's the best example I think I could give, Rondo. I once saw this movie where it was about three soldiers kind of returning from war uh, in Iraq. This was during Bush 2. But they returned from war and they were at this party of like this super rich dude. They somehow made it into this party, and the guy who owned the house and he was rich, he saw that they were army guys, right? And he goes up to them and he goes like, I just want to say I love the army. I think you guys are wonderful. You should be, thank you for fighting for our country. And the soldier says, honestly, sir, when we're over there in the fighting, mostly we're just trying to stay alive, right? And this rich guy who's never fought in the army, who's never, made any sacrifices, tells them, you should be ashamed of the answer. You should love the army, just because you got the chance to be over there. And it's like, when you're a guy who's never been there, never been through that, you don't get to, judge somebody else's experiences, right? And I find with Freemasonry, one of the things you struggle with is like, you got this guy coming and telling you how much you should love Freemasonry. It's easy to say that when you're not 15 days in and exhausted, right? And, spending savings trying to make this thing work. So maybe what we need is on both sides of it a little bit more understanding. For those of us who are dedicating our lives to it, we should maybe be a little bit more understanding for those who, can't and are focused on other things and coming once every few years. And for those of, for those who are, showing up not all the time, showing up irregularly, maybe be a little bit more respectful of those who are sticking around to make sure the lodge works, right? You need both. That's true. Nobody is asking, but there's this really great meme I once saw, or I guess cartoon it would be, where it was two older Masons. They show up to a Masonic building, a Masonic hall, and there's a sign on it that says Masonic Hall closed, and the two Masons look at each other and say, I guess we spent too much time away from the lodge, right? Like nobody does ask. However, and this isn't me exclusive, by the way. I've been to many jurisdictions and lodges where it's the exact same thing, where the fact that anybody has a lodge to go to, the fact that, as what Rondo is saying, the fact that, a vulture has a culture which to jump in on, um, that is thanks to people choosing to put in 50 hours a week. If there were people not willing to do that, the Mason who showed up for the first time in like 5 years and talked about how much he loved Freemasonry, he would not have a lodge to go to, right? It's being kept alive by fewer and fewer people doing greater and greater amounts of work. And the danger of that is the exhaustion of it. Um, well, interesting. Rondo, could you tell me more about cultural vulture? Because honestly, that sounds like a really good, without knowing what it is. Sometimes you do, Mr. Keeps on Ticking, right? Like you don't necessarily know what it takes. Um, it's not so much a working lodge, it's a working district. Well, I mean, if what you want out of Freemasonry is a lodge that meets, you know, once a month, opens, reads some minutes, and closes, then you don't need 50 hours a week. But if you want a lodge that fulfills its obligations to the community, that fulfills its obligations to its Grand Lodge, that has educational programs, not just that, but a district. Like, don't forget, I'm not a member of a lodge, I'm a member of 5 lodges. I'm a part of Scottish Rite. I'm a part of the coffee club. I'm a part of the temple board, the temple, not the temple board. I'm a committee chair, right? And for all of those things, I was responsible for making sure the food was there, making sure the paperwork was done. For 3 lodges, there was a time when I was basically making sure that all the paperwork that we needed to get done was done. So it's not easy. And I'm not saying I'm exclusive, by the way. A lot of people did the same thing I did. Because again, like you don't need to have a Halloween event, but we want to have one because it brings kids out, it brings families out, it creates a more welcoming environment, it gets the community involved. Do we have to do that? No. Are people asking us to do that? No. But do people enjoy it? Yes. And so I guess it's tough. You don't want to develop a martyr complex, and if you do, that's a very challenging and not healthy approach and attitude to have. But you also want to make sure that those who are showing up irregularly understand the reason they have a place to show up to is because of people dedicating themselves. Um, uh, uh, People working hard, and you're not wrong. The issue is though, if somebody, um, well, I mean, uh, martyrdom and self-righteousness can go hand in hand, and it's very scary when it does. And sometimes I can have that negative quality about myself. Um, um, but I try to be better. Well, and in fairness, Dad, I have taken a lot of steps back from 2024 was the most exhausted I've been in terms of time spent on Freemasonry. Combine that with being very active as a professional wrestler. Um, um, so things have gotten a lot better. Plus, it's summer. I mean, the 50-hour week thing, that was a specific stretch of about 3 or 4 months, really, where it was just exhausting. And to its credit, lodges have started stepping in. I've moved out of some of these chairs. I'm not the second general in Scottish Rite anymore. I'm not the secretary in Harmony anymore. I'm still working very hard with Freemasonry, and I'm very proud of how hard I work. But certainly others have stepped up. And to their credit, right? To their credit. But I mean, it's one of those things where you kind of have to decide what you want. Do you want as many Masonic lodges to be as successful as possible? In which case, sometimes that means people stepping up to multiple roles. Or, do you not? And you're not wrong, Mr. Keeps on Ticking. That is an attitude that a lot of people can have. And that is the attitude I'm more starting to get, where I feel like, and also you have to just be willing to step aside and say, other people need to take this on. It's not, well, that's okay, Carl, because I do care about Masonic lodges. Um, or as successful as you have in terms of the manpower that's willing without burning out. Because you can, be super successful if you have one person willing to dedicate, all of himself to the lodge. But is that sustainable beyond a few months? You know? Um, I'm trying to focus more on self care and stress management. I'm trying to get better at that. Um, we do need Masonic lodges. We need Masonic lodges because they make the world a better place, Carl. Um, See, it's not what I would say, Rondo, is if you define, personal gain as getting rich or getting like famous or something like that, then that's not what happens in Freemasonry. But if you would describe personal gain as just feeling good about oneself without putting in the effort for that good feeling, then that is an issue. So, for example, I haven't been to lodge for I'm not a Mason hasn't been to lodge for 5 years. He yes, it's the brown nosing. I haven't been involved in Freemasonry for let's say 5 years. As an example, I show up to a lodge. I start talking about how much I love the lodge and how much I love Freemasonry. Um, you know, what you're doing is you're showing because you want people to say, "We missed you, we love you, blah blah blah. It's great to have you back," as opposed to like you're kind of brown nosing Freemasonry when you haven't been involved and haven't demonstrated that love of Freemasonry. But again, you need the balance, right? You need people willing to say, "Welcome back. We missed you, and thank you for being here." Um, and we need the guys who are not dedicating themselves to the craft to maybe show a little bit more appreciation and respect, not for Freemasonry, quote unquote, but rather for the guys working hard to keep it going and dedicating themselves to it, so you have something to go back to. Yeah, so the second way you mean it, Rondo, I absolutely would agree with that. Um, it's tough. It's just tough sometimes. So I think, more charity on both parts. For those who are dedicating themselves to the craft, being more charitable, and I speak for myself as well, being more charitable for those who are not showing up regularly and are not working as hard is a good thing. Um, and for those who are not showing up regularly, a little bit more charity to those who are dedicated. And if we sometimes seem standoffish or cranky, it's because we're working really hard. And that hard work comes with a level of exhaustion in some cases. And you're not wrong, right? You are supposed to be able to tell your brothers when they are messing up, but in a respectful way. Um, but you got to tell them, right? Especially if you're in a more leadership role and are putting in your time and effort. You're cooking burgers for 350 people, Smokey. You are working your butt off, and you should be proud of that. Um, and that's true. That is always going to be the question. Who am I, or who is anybody to pass judgments? I would hope, um, I would hope that, you know, we can find ways Freemasons, I would think that dedication does allow for a certain level of, if not judgment, recognition of the work some are putting in versus the work some are not. But again, being charitable, it's a tough balance to find, right? And it's one of probably my biggest Masonic struggles I've had. And it wasn't just here. I've had it in other places as well, where it's like trying to recognizing that we need every Freemason to dedicate themselves to Freemasonry if it's going to survive in North America, you know, 50 or 60 years. So having that recognition while at the same time, um, while at the same time, um, being respectful and understanding of those Masons who just cannot dedicate themselves to Freemasonry due to work, family, etc., etc. You need to recognize the necessity of dedication while also appreciating the while also understanding other commitments that brothers are facing and other challenges that they're facing. So, how you strike that balance, I do not know, but it's tough. It's very tough. But Rondo, I really liked that term, cultural vulture. I may look that up and see if there's some potential Masonic connections therein. People do need validation, Carl. One of the things we talked about with a few different items is the necessity of people who need validation. So I like being me too, and I like the fact, Carl, that you are you. You keep loving being you. Welcome, Dylan. How is your day going so far? Which is a good attitude to have, Carl, which is a very good attitude to have. How is it going, everybody watching? Let me know. Jump in the chat, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, answer our poll question. We have got 9 votes. Looks like 7 people said yes, you'll be joining me for the August 21st to August 22nd 24-hour live stream starting at 2 p.m. Eastern. You know what, Carl? That's not enough because you also need to hit the like button. So like both you, but also like the like button and like the stream would be appreciated as well. Survivable is good. It is. It is. Oh my, how do you get so many? How busy is your restaurant? How many people, how many people does your restaurant seat? I cannot imagine trying to cook burgers for 68 people, let alone over 100. A culture vulture is a term, often informal and sometimes derogatory, used to describe someone who is seen as overly interested in or even exploited aspects of a culture that are not their own, particularly for personal gain or prestige. It often implies a lack of genuine understanding or appreciation and a tendency to take from a culture without a proper respect or attribution. I would say the latter. There are a lot of Masons who are kind of Masonic cultural vultures. So, thank you. Much appreciated. You can also follow me on Patreon, patreon.com/squareandcompass. You can do that as well. I would truly, truly appreciate it. I was going to start talking about what I have coming up and celebrating some of those things and making sure people know about them. I was going to do that at the 1 hour mark, so I'm going to give it, let's say, another 5 or 10 minutes. about to say, yeah, if you could feed 96 people, we could use you as a junior warden. You'd have to move to Canada. You'd have to move to Winnipeg in particular. I hope that you'd be okay with that. But Winnipeg is a great city. I can vouch for it. It's where I grew up. It's what made me me. So JW stands for Junior Warden. They are the people responsible for preparing the food for a Masonic Lodge. It could be something as simple as, ordering pizza, to some are actual like cooks themselves. And so they end up like cooking fancy food and having like sit down meals. So yeah, it's whenever you get a cook or somebody knows how to cook as a junior warden, people really appreciate it. I do not know anything with Jehovah's Witnesses other than they've always seemed nice to me. They never knocked on my door as of yet. Oh, I love Waffle House. I think Waffle House is some of like the best food. Uh, you guys in the States, you guys have Dunkin' Donuts coffee, you have Waffle House, you have like, oh, do I miss Waffle House? It was so good. Um, what was your favorite Waffle House order? Like to eat? I like IHOP. There's an IHOP right across the border from me. I could probably, if I looked closely or had like a telescope, maybe see it from my house. Um, so when I go to the States, back in the day, what I would do when I would go to a Masonic event in the States, I would go a little bit early, sometimes first thing in the morning, like, when I say first thing, 10 o'clock or whatever it is, and grab an IHOP breakfast. Well, yeah. I mean, Mr. Keeps on ticking. I know you sent me the coffee. That's awesome. But I am a big fan of Dunkin' Donuts coffee. What can I say? With this, what are browns? Hash browns? Okay, so see, when I think of Waffle House, I think of breakfast. Like Waffle House breakfasts are the best. But you're saying burger. That's where you go. I love Dunkin' Donuts coffee, but Mr. Keeps, you brought me very, very good coffee. Honestly, any coffee is good. I really did appreciate it very much. It tasted great. What is collation? Pecan waffle hash browns. Okay, so we got EA Freemason with his pecan or pecan, if you will, waffles. Those are good. My favorite breakfast, though, I think I've talked about this a million times. Um, Ellie's Pancake House is my favorite Chicagoland breakfast. It's so good. So if you're ever in the Chicago area, it's just a 20-minute drive to get to Glenview. It's on Milwaukee, the Ellie's Pancake House on North Milwaukee in Glenview, Illinois, just across the street from the Motel 6, is the best breakfast, in my opinion, in all of the Chicagoland area, and my favorite breakfast. Oh, you're making me hungry. I haven't eaten lunch yet either. So now I'm very hungry as well. They are not Instagram cut. They are not. I mean, unfortunately, early in its history, there were some Freemasons who also joined the KKK, which sucks. It's one of the more shameful parts of Masonic history. Uh, you know, unfortunately, people are a product of their time, and there were a lot of racist Freemasons back in the day because there were a lot of racist people back in the day. I'd like to think we're better. I'm sure there are still racist Freemasons even in 2025, but I can say to myself, I've never met or known any Freemason who expresses any support for the KKK. At least since I've been a Mason in 2007. My dad's been a Mason since 1985, my grandfather since the 50s. Freemasons welcome men of all different races, black, white, Asian, different ethnicities, First Nations, Jewish, Hindu, Sikh, Indian, Chinese, whatever it is, welcomes them all. Which is a good thing, which is what makes Freemasonry such a good organization. As for the Illuminati was started by a guy called Carl Weisenhaupt in 1777, if I'm getting that date correct. He started it. He was a Mason. He started it as almost like an anti-Masonic group in some ways. Like, he started because he didn't like certain aspects of Freemasonry. He didn't like the fact that in his mind Freemasonry was too expensive. He also didn't like the fact that Freemasonry was not esoteric enough for him. So it almost started as an anti-Masonic group in some ways. Nice. That old lady sounds like a smart person. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I talked about this yesterday. The funny thing about Albert Pike is you would think that he would be opposed in principle to Prince Hall Freemasonry because he was Confederate and because they say he was a part of the KKK. I don't know if he was or not. I know Bedford Forrest was a Freemason, but he had surprisingly nice things to say about the KKK, so... and so, yeah, so his views softened over time, or whatever reason, he actually said some more positive things about the Prince Hall Freemasons in I think it was 75. So that was a kind of a more surprising moment from him. So people are complicated, I think is the point. There's a lot of stuff to not like about Albert Pike, I think, but there's also a lot of things to like about him. And you kind of have to find, part of just being a human being is trying to figure out how you can kind of thread those needles and figure those things out, because it's not easy. That is true. Speaking of Indians, once again, right, he may have known some of those First Nations through his Masonic involvement. Again, as somebody who, Freemasonry welcoming men of First Nations and Indigenous men into Freemasonry. 11 votes. Looks like we still have more people saying yes than no, that they'll join my 24-hour live stream, which I can't wait for. I think this gives me the chance now. I'm probably going to end this stream a little bit earlier than normal, just because, it's been a lot of fun, but I do have a bunch of work to do. I am going to do my best to have a 1 a.m. stream tonight. I can't make any promises, but I am going to try my best. I've just got a lot of stuff on the go at the moment. So, what we have coming up, and this is what I kind of wanted to focus on, exciting things that I have happening, as well as exciting things happening just in my community and in the world. So, August 16th, so 2 days from now, from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. I will be live streaming from the Windsor Hip Hop Festival. I think that we as Freemasons should be supporting our local community artists, whether they be musicians, painters, whatever they may be. We should be supporting our local artists. So August 16th, I'm going to actually have a table set up there. I'm going to talk about Square and Compass promotions. I'm going to have some cool stuff on display. I'll take some pictures. And then from 12 to 2 p.m., we'll be live streaming the Hip Hop Festival. I will also be helping out with the Masonic Child Identification Program, which will be taking place at the Hip Hop Festival as well. If you can make it in person, please do so. It is August 16th from 11 to 6 at Atkinson Park on Riverside Drive in Windsor. It's going to be an absolute blast. Speaking of, no, Buddy Cole, no. That makes me sad, but what can you do? Before that, on August 15th, speaking of supporting local artists, we are going to be having our, what's going to be an absolute blast. We're going to be having coffee club, and we're going to be having another local artist there, and actually a Freemason who's going to be showing off some of his artwork. So if you are, no, Carl, so if we are in Windsor, come on down to the Masonic Temple, have some coffee. It's $2 for bottomless cup, and you can check out a great local artist. On August 20th, starting at 3 p.m., I'm going to be having a Insta Live. I've left the link on various social media sites and channels of Square and Compass Promotions, but just follow us on Instagram, Square_and_promotions, or sorry, Square_and_Compass_promotions. 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. we're going to be live streaming from Instagram. I've never done it before, so I'm looking forward to seeing who joins and hangs out. Then August 21st, starting at 2 p.m., another live stream, and in this case, we are going to be talking about, all of my different Masonic items, my coins, my pins, all that good jazz, which makes things, which is part of my Masonic career. And makes, my Masonic career really special. And so that's going to be a 24-hour live stream starting August 21st at 2 p.m., going to August 22nd at 2 p.m. August 29th, we will be live streaming with my friend Smokey. That's fine. Just join for a bit. I don't expect anybody to join for the whole 24 hours, right? Just join for what you can. August 29th, on my personal YouTube channel at 12, I will be live streaming with Smokey the Clown. We're going to be hanging out, chatting. It's not going to be about Freemasonry. It's just going to be about anything, which should be an absolute blast. That will be on August 29th. Other things I've got going on that I wanted to mention and talk about. Again, just for part, Buddy Cole, just for part. But you can see some of my really, really awesome pins, coins, other things, just really cool pieces of memorabilia that I've got that I want to show off and celebrate. And then hopefully that will give Masons watching some ideas as to what they can get. Like, do they want to get coins, pins, maybe some unique things? I'll show some of the more unusual Masonic items I've got over the years that maybe most are not aware of, and it gives them some ideas for lodges. Also, why lodges need to have things like this, how you as a Freemason can protect them, display them, insure them, all that good jazz. So I then want to mention on my personal side of things and just some notes. I want to say once again, thank you. Actually, one more thing. August 30th, we're having a softball game. If you don't have to be a Mason, you can be a friend of mine to come out. Masons are going to be playing some softball, and it's going to be an absolute blast. Beyond that, we have on August, what was I saying? Oh, recently, this August, I wanted to mention I got my library card renewed. Thank you, Windsor Public Library. I've been a big proponent of this. We as Freemasons also should care about our public libraries. Oftentimes, they are great stores of information about Freemasonry, especially as most cities or towns, their library is connected with and attached to their town archives, as well as their town historical societies. And those are absolute treasure troves of information about Masonic history. We should be spending more time connecting with our local historical societies. But, I got my library card. Support your local library and maybe do some research. Like, ask them if they have any archival information about Freemasonry. You'd be amazed what they have. I can say Windsor and Glenview, absolute treasure troves of Masonic information through the library system. I want to thank Shoppers Drug Mart for helping me with my vaccinations, for travel, which I plan to do in October. I'm a big supporter of vaccinations, as we all know. I got those done. Thank you to Shoppers Drug Mart on that. I also wanted to mention congratulations to the City of Windsor. Let me see if I can get the actual information. I had the article here a second ago. Now I don't know where it went. You look away for a minute. I gotta find this article. Windsor just received $5.4 million. Here it is. Ontario rewards Windsor with $5.2 million through Building Faster Fund. The Ontario government is awarding the City of Windsor $5,200,000 through the second round of the Building Faster Fund, which provides funding to municipalities that achieve at least 80% of their provincially designated housing targets. Windsor broke ground on 2,306 new homes in 2024, achieving 213% of its 2024 housing budget. This funding will help the City of Windsor build more homes and community infrastructure while advancing the province's plan to protect Ontario by investing in infrastructure to support economic growth and keep workers on the job. Mayor Dilkins and the City of Windsor have done an incredible job supporting new home construction and getting shovels in the ground. Today's investment is a reflection of that hard work and is just the latest step we are taking to protect workers and communities by supporting continued growth and keeping the dream of home ownership alive in Windsor and across Ontario. Announced in August 2023, the Building Faster Fund is a 3-year, $1.2 billion program designed to encourage municipalities to speed up municipal approval processes and get more homes built faster. Windsor has been identified as one of the most important and fastest growing communities to watch in Ontario and Canada. So congratulations to Windsor on $5.2 million, and congratulations on being a leader in the breaking of new homes. So congratulations to Windsor on that. Again, as a Freemason, we should care about how well our communities are doing, and Windsor is absolutely crushing it, as is the downtown core, which is home to Square and Compass Promotions, home to the Windsor Masonic Temple. They've installed a lot of new trash bins, beautifying projects. Their strength in the core is going well. You're seeing a lot of cleanup. Great job to the councilor, Renato Estée, the mayor, Agostino, the mayor, and everybody who is making our downtown strong. The police who are out there patrolling regularly. Congratulations to them as well. And last, thank you to the Windsor Police Services for getting me my criminal record check. I truly appreciate that as well. Because that means I can volunteer with the Masonic Chip program, which I can't wait to do. Masonic Child Identification Program, it's going to be at the Windsor Hip Hop Festival. If you want to learn more about it, come check out the Hip Hop Festival. And with that, that is everything I've got going on that I'm excited about. The biggest exciting thing, though, without question, is the August 21st 24-hour live stream starting 2 p.m. I cannot wait to go over all of my Masonic items, pins, coins, collectibles, talk about what they mean to me, why they're important, why other lodges should why other lodges should why other lodges should look at creating coins or pins or special items, whatever they may be, how you can, protect them, insure them, display them, what they mean for lodges. That will probably take, honestly, because I have so much stuff, just going through that will probably take me a couple hours, or maybe 5 or 6 hours, honestly, because I have so much stuff. And then we're just going to talk, hang out. I have a few other topics I want to discuss as well. 29th, I'm absolutely excited for as well. Don't worry. I haven't forgotten about that, Carl. I think that's going to be great also. All right, guys, it is my goal. I can't make 100% sure because I do have to take care of something tonight, but I do plan to jump on the live stream tonight at 1 a.m. If anything happens and I can't, I'll try to leave something on YouTube, like with a quick announcement. But otherwise, I will see you guys later. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you all for joining. All right, bye.